These are some. Today I want to discuss some important advanced model problems in rotatory motion. Okay, here question is displayed. You see, for first, second, and third. Those three problems are important. First, we will discuss those three problems. Okay, here first problem. A uniform disk of mass 1 kg and radius 1 meter starts rolling down from A without slipping on the rough inner surface of a fixed semicircular container of radius 4 meter. The angular velocity of the disk at B. That is the question they asked. Here you see, here there is a semicircular surface is there. Semicircular container. Okay, semicircular container is there. It is the semicircular container whose center is this one. Of course, this is radius. This is radius, capillary. Here, one uniform disk. One disk is there. This is the disk of radius 1 meter. Here it is the disk of radius is smaller, that is equal to 1 meter. Small r is equal to 1 meter. Disk of radius small r is equal to 1 meter and mass is equal to 1 kg. Mass is equal to 1 kg. Starts rolling down from the point A. Starts rolling down from the point A. Initially, whenever the disk is here, this is the origin. It is the position of the disk with respect to origin. Okay, now here when the disk is here, the line joining the position of the disk and the center makes an angle theta is equal to 60 degree with the vertical. That is given in the problem only. When you release this disk, when the disk is released, then here as the sufficient friction is there, it is rolling without slipping and it comes down and reaches the point here. It is rolling and rolling without slipping, and whenever it reaches the bottom of the this spherical surface, bottom of this semicircular surface, they asked what is the angular speed. So at this point, whenever it reaches at this point, what is the angular speed of the disk? That is a question mark. Here actually the disk is here at this instant. Whenever the disk is released, it has no velocity, but the weight component, you see here, this is actually the weight. Here the weight component acts in this direction. If it is 60 degree, definitely it is 60 degree. It is 60 degree because these two are parallel and intersecting line. If it is 60, it is 60. Then weight component mg sin 60 acts in this direction. Because of weight component about the point of contact, the torque acts on the disk. Due to that, it starts rolling. Whenever it starts rolling, and at the same time, because of this mg sin 60 force acts on this disk through center of mass, it accelerates also. At the same time, friction acts because sufficient friction is there. So friction also acts in this direction. So because of this, the body rolls without slipping. That means there is a sufficient friction. Whenever it rolls without slipping, before it reaches the bottom, what is the angular velocity? They ask it. As it is coming down by rolling without slipping, definitely it gains the rotational kinetic energy. Sorry, it gains the rolling energy. So initially, center mass of the disk is here at this height. Finally, the center mass of the disk comes to this position. Okay, whenever the disk comes from this position to this position, through what distance it comes down? Through what vertical distance it comes down? Suppose that is say h. So the potential energy equivalent to this distance h or height h is lost by the disk whenever it comes from this position to this position. So whenever rolling friction here, whenever the rolling without slipping takes place, the total energy is conserved because no work is done by the friction also. Okay, that's why here at this A, according to law of conservation of energy principle, total energy at A is equal to total energy at B. Suppose if you take this line, the bottommost point of the center mass of the disk as the reference line, from this position B, the center of mass of the disk is at a height h. That's why it is initially it is having only potential energy at A. Okay, but whenever it reaches the point here, it gains the rolling energy. Here they ask the angular velocity, not velocity of center of mass. That's why in terms of angular velocity, you write the rolling energy. What is the formula for rolling energy? half I omega square, half I about the central mass moment of inertia into angular velocity about the central mass into 1 plus r square by k square. Of course, here the radius of the disk is smaller. That's why you have to write smaller only, not capital R, smaller. Okay, therefore, you substitute the data mz into here. What about the y value? What about this h value? You see, from this point to this point, this distance is equal to actually radius of the entire radius of this entire disk is 4 meter. Small r is equal to 1 meter. That's why this is equal to 3 meter only. No, this is equal to 3 meter. Okay, here their component in this direction is equal to 3 cos 60. This is equal to 3 cos 60. That is equal to 3 by 2. This is equal to 3. This is equal to 3. This is equal to 3 by 2. So what about this distance? Okay, here first of all you write mz into h means you see what is this distance? This distance is equal to capital R minus small r. No, here up to this it is capital R. From that you subtract the small r. Then this distance is equal to capital R minus small r. From that you have to subtract this distance capital R minus small r cos 60. So capital R minus small r you take common, then 1 minus cos 60. It is the distance through which the central mass of the disk falls. So this is the loss of potential energy. That is equal to gain in rolling energy of the body. Gain in rolling energy means that is equal to half into moment of inertia of the disk about the central mass. That means small m into small radius square into 1 plus. What about this? Here small r square by k square means in case of disk, for disk, moment of inertia about the center of mass is equal to mr square by, for the disk moment of inertia is mr square by 2. No, mr square by 2, that is equal to mk square. So k square by r square is equal to 1 by 2, or r square by k square is equal to 2 only. No, r square by k square is equal to 2. Okay, now you substitute the values. So here small m cancel. Okay, therefore capital R means 4 minus small r means 1 into 1 minus cos 60 1 by 2 is equal to 1 by 4 into, here small r is 1 square into omega square is there. No, it is half I omega square is there. So you write omega square. So here 1 by 4 into 1 square into 3 into omega square. So from this, if you find the omega value, what is the value you will get? Here 4 minus 1 3, here 3 cancel. Okay, this is equal to 1 by 2. So 4 by 2 means 2. Omega square is equal to 2. Here g is also there. No, sorry, here g is also there, g. Okay, so 2z you will get. Omega square is equal to 2z you will get. That implies omega is equal to root 2z. Answer is given in terms of g only. This much radian per second. This much radian per second. So this is the angular velocity of the disk. Suresh Reddy, Rutvik joined in WIT, Computer Science Artificial Intelligence. Suresh Reddy. Okay. Yeah, for BTech. For BTech only he joined in a WIT campus. Okay, right now here you see, here this is a semicircular path. One disk rolling without slipping on the semicircular path. That means friction is sufficient. Whenever the disk is released from the position, when it makes an angle 60 degree with vertical, at the time whenever it is released, then it rolls without slipping, and whenever it reaches the bottom of the semicircular path, at that time what is the angular velocity they asked. Initially, whenever the disk is here, the center of the disk lies at this point. Okay, in this horizontal plane. Whenever the disk comes to this position, the center of mass lies in this horizontal plane. That's why whenever the disk comes from A to B, through what distance center of mass comes down means that is equal to h. Of course, h is equal to, you see, capital R minus small r into 1 minus cos 60. Because this length is equal to capital R minus small r. Their component is capital R minus small r into cos 60. So h means capital R minus small r minus capital R minus small r into cos 60. Okay, so capital R minus small r into 1 minus cos 60, that is equal to h. So whenever the disk comes from this position to this position, this amount of potential energy is lost. That is equal to gain in rolling energy. Rolling energy means, as they asked the omega, in terms of omega, we have tried half I omega square into 1 plus r square by k square. Now I substitute the data. Half into moment of inertia of the disk about the central mass is equal to mr square by 2. Suppose if it is a solid sphere, 2 by 5 mr square we have to write. If it is a hollow sphere, 2 by 3 mr square we have to write. Into 1 plus, in case of disk, moment of inertia is equal to mr square by 2, that is equal to m into k square. Then what about r square by k square? That is equal to no. So r square by k square is equal to I have written. Okay, into omega square. From this, if you substitute the data and if you simplify them, then we will get omega is equal to root 2g radian per second. This is the angular velocity of the disk when it reaches the bottom of the semicircular path. Okay. No, not in Vit Bhopal, Vit Amaravati. Vit Amaravati. Okay, right. My son joined in Vit Amaravati. Okay, next, second one. All of you see the second problem. All of you see second problem. A uniform solid cylinder of radius smaller starts rolling without slipping down from the top of the fixed sphere of radius capital. The angular velocity of the cylinder at the moment it breaks off the sphere will be dash. Okay, so here all of you look at the board. All of you look at the board. Second problem. There is a fixed sphere. It is the fixed sphere. It is the fixed sphere of radius capital. It is the fixed sphere of radius capital. It is fixed. No rotation. Okay. A uniform solid cylinder is kept at the top of the solid sphere. Here, a cylinder is kept at the top of the sphere. This sphere is having radius smaller. This is having radius smaller. A uniform solid cylinder of radius smaller starts rolling without slipping down from the top of the fixed sphere of radius capital. ఈ క్యాపిటల్ రేడియస్ కల స్పియర్ యొక్క సర్ఫేస్ మీద టాప్ మోస్ట్ పాయింట్ దగ్గర నుంచి ఒక సాలిడ్ సిలిండర్ ఆఫ్ రేడియస్ స్మాలర్ స్టార్ట్స్ రోలింగ్ వితౌట్ స్లిప్పింగ్. ఓకే, యాజ్ లాంగ్ యాజ్ ఇట్ కమ్స్ డౌన్, as long as it is coming down without rolling without slipping, whenever it comes to this position, suppose whenever this solid cylinder comes to this position, at the time, suppose this velocity is say v, then immediately as with a whenever it travel with a speed v, at that time with a speed v, at that time here what are the forces acts on the disk? Weight mg acts vertically downwards direction. Okay, if it is theta, if this angle is theta, then of course this angle is theta. So the weight component in this direction is equal to mg cos theta, and in this direction along tangential direction it is mg sin theta. And at the same time, as it is having velocity v, then it experiences the centrifugal force also. Centrifugal force away from the this cylinder. So that is equal to mv square by radius of this circular path. Means what is the radius of circular path? This is capital R plus this is small r. That's why capital R plus small r we have to write. Capital R plus small r we have to write. Okay. Therefore, so from this formula, initially the central mass of the cylinder is here. Whenever the cylinder comes to this position, the central mass lies in this plane. Whenever the cylinder comes from this position to this position, through what vertical distance it comes down, means that is equal to say y. So we have to find y value first. We have to find y value. Whenever the solid cylinder comes from this position to this position, as it comes down through a distance y, the equivalent potential energy is lost. That potential energy is equal to gain in rotational kinetic energy. That rolling energy, that potential energy is equal to gain in rolling energy. Okay, so here from this formula, here they asked what is the angular velocity of the cylinder. They asked, okay. Here they asked the angular velocity, not velocity. They asked the angular velocity. Of course, this component of weight is mg sine theta. Okay, angular velocity they asked at this moment. So here, total energy at A, as it is rolling without slipping, definitely according to law of conservation of energy, total energy at A is equal to total energy at B. Total energy at A means initially from this reference line, the center mass of the cylinder is at a height y. It has no velocity, no angular velocity. That's why only it is having potential energy mg into y. That is equal to whenever the cylinder comes to this position, whenever the cylinder comes to that position, then it is having, it acquires the rolling energy because it is rolling without slipping, no? Without slipping down from the top of the fixed sphere of radius capital R. The angular velocity of the cylinder at the moment it breaks off the sphere. So first we have to find the angular velocity. Okay. First, at this position, what is the angular? What is the rolling energy it gains? Rolling energy it gains, we have to write. Okay. Rolling energy means half I omega square. Half I omega square into 1 plus r square by k square. R square means radius of the disc, that is smaller, radius of the cylinder smaller, r square by k square. Okay. So therefore half I omega square into this one, it is the rolling energy. Therefore you substitute the data, mgy is equal to half. Okay, y, what is y value here? What is the y value? We have to substitute y value, no? mg into, you see, this is y value. This is y value means how we can find y value? This is equal to r plus r. From this it is r plus r. This is r plus r. Their component in this direction is r plus r cos theta. So from this r plus r, you subtract r plus r cos theta. Then you will get this y. So y is equal to, we can write r plus small r into 1 minus cos theta. 1 minus cos theta. Okay, this is equal to half into moment of inertia. Here, whenever about the center mass of the cylinder, the moment of inertia is mr square by 2, mr square by 2 into angular velocity omega square into 1 plus moment of inertia of the solid cylinder is equal to mr square by 2, that is equal to mk square. Then r square by k square is equal to 2, no? So you substitute r square by k square is equal to 2 into, okay, omega square I wrote here. Then from this, if you simplify them, then you will get angular velocity omega from this. Okay, here m cancel. So this is a equation 1. This is equation 1. So at the same time, what is the normal reaction? At this instant, whenever the angular velocity is omega, what is the normal reaction? Here we have to find the normal reaction. Here you see, here they asked angular velocity of the cylinder whenever it breaks off the surface of the sphere, they asked. That means as long as the velocity increases at certain position, it leaves the contact with the sphere, no? It falls directly like this without rolling. So at the instant, whenever it ready to leave the surface, at that time, what is the angular velocity? They asked. So while leaving the surface here, normal reaction becomes 0. Actually, weight component mg cos theta acts in this direction, and as omega is there, in terms of omega, you write here, as omega is there, centrifugal force is equal to m into radius of the circular path is capital R plus small r. So capital R plus small r into angular velocity square, mr omega square. That is the centrifugal force acts in this direction. Whenever mg cos theta greater than this one, net force with which the cylinder pushes the surface, spherical surface towards the center means that is equal to mg cos theta minus m of capital R minus plus small r into omega square. This is equal to normal reaction. Whenever it leaves the contact with the surface, at that time normal reaction is 0, as loses contact. Okay, therefore from this mz cos theta is equal to m into capital R plus small r into omega square we can write. Okay, so here we see from this cancel, cos theta is equal to we can write capital R plus small r into omega square by z we can write. This is equation 2. Now we substitute this cos theta value in that equation. You substitute this cos theta value in this equation from 1 and 2. From 1 and 2 here. From 1, you see, from 1, m we can cancel. So remaining is g of capital R plus small r into 1 minus cos theta is equal to r square omega square by 4 into 3. Into 3. Okay, here we have to find angular velocity. That's why here you see g of capital R plus small r into 1 minus cos theta means capital R plus small r into omega square by z is equal to 3r square omega square by 4. Okay, therefore you multiply them. G of capital R plus small r minus gz cancel. So capital R plus small r into capital R plus small r whole square into omega square is equal to 3r square omega square by 4. Okay, then you multiply them. When you multiply them, you will get, I think you will get omega value when you multiply them. Here they asked the angular velocity only. Okay, omega we had to find. So here this is equation 3. Yeah, 23rd onwards, Tridev. So here omega square is equal to, we got this one. Therefore, omega is equal to 4z of capital R minus small r by 7 into r square. This is the answer. So here we have to remember one point. Whenever the rolling without slipping takes place, its velocity is v. Then centrifugal force acts on this disc at this point is equal to mv square by radius of circular path means this is equal to capital R plus small r. But here v is the speed of the center of mass whenever it is rolling without slipping. Whenever the cylinder rolls without slipping, v is equal to r radius of the disc small r into omega. That is important point here. Okay, now normal reaction is equal to mg cos theta minus mv square by r plus r. That is equal to 0 when it leaves contact. ఇది కాంటాక్ట్ లూజ్ అయ్యే టైంలో నార్మల్ యాక్షన్ ఉండదుగా ఇంకా, కాబట్టి నార్మల్ యాక్షన్ మేడ్ 0. Then I got cos theta is equal to this one. V I substituted small r into omega. Small r into omega. Square is there. Square. So when you simplify them, you substitute this cos theta value in this, and if you simplify them, then you will get omega is equal to square root of 4z of capital R plus small r by 7r square. That is the formula for angular velocity. Okay. Now all of you see the third problem. All of you see third problem. You read first third problem. After completion of this class, I will keep this paper in WhatsApp group. Okay, so that you can understand. Next third problem. A block of mass 4 kg okay. Okay, right. All of you see the problem. All of you see the problem. A block of mass 4 kg is attached to a spring constant 32 Newton per meter by a rope that hangs over the pulley of mass 8 kg. If the system starts from rest with a spring unstretched, and at the instant whenever the block is released, the spring is in unstretched condition. Okay, find the speed of the block after it falls through a distance 1 meter. Whenever it falls through a 1 meter distance, then what is the speed of the block at that time? Speed of the block they asked. V is equal to question mark. V is equal to question mark. Here, whenever the block comes down to a distance yes, here work is done by the gravity for this distance, and at the same time as this comes down to a distance 1 meter, or this is equal to say x, then the spring extends by x. That's why work done by the spring. So work done by the gravity is positive, work done by the spring is negative, because the spring force acts in this direction. No? The spring force acts in this direction, Fs acts in this direction, and work done by gravity in this direction. Okay, now here the net work done on the body is equal to change in kinetic energy of the body. Now net work done on the body is equal to change in kinetic energy. Here mass of the pulley is also given. That's why whenever the block comes down here, it gains the rotational kinetic energy. It gains the, here whenever the block comes down, it loses potential energy. At the same time, it gains the kinetic energy, it gains the rotational kinetic energy, it acquires the potential energy. Okay, according to, here the string comes down, the spring comes down. You see here radius of the okay, here it is having mass, means it is having rotational kinetic energy. That's why according to law of conservation of energy principle, according to here there is no slipping of the rope or the pulley. That's why according to law of conservation of energy principle, initial energy of the system is equal to final energy of the system. Initial energy of the system is equal to final energy of the system, or whenever the block comes down, it loses potential energy. That loss of potential energy is equal to gain in energy by all. That's why you write like that. Loss of potential energy is equal to loss of potential energy by the block is equal to gain in energy by the system. System means all spring, pulley and block all acquires energy. Loss of potential energy means as the block comes down to a distance x, it loses potential energy mg into x. Mass of the block is small m only, no? This is equal to gain in energy by the system means as the block comes down here with increasing velocity, that's why it definitely gains the velocity. That's why it has kinetic energy half mv square. It gains the kinetic energy half mv square plus kinetic rotational kinetic energy gained by this pulley, that is equal to half I omega square plus potential energy gained by the spring, that is equal to half kx square. Half kx square. Okay, here already x value is given, k value is given, m is known, g is known. So these values all are known. They asked the speed only. You write omega in terms of speed v. Here whenever the block comes down with a speed v, then this point of contact also comes down with a speed v only, no? Comes down with a speed v only, no? That's why here v can be written as the radius r into angular velocity omega, we can write. Okay, that's why omega is equal to v by r, we can write. You substitute here. So mgx is equal to half mv square plus half. Here pulley is the, pulley means is the disc or pulley is the disc. This is the disc. That's why moment of inertia is mass is capital M. That's why capital M into capital R square by 2 into angular velocity means v by r. Square is there. That's why v square by r square plus half into kx square. Here we have to find only v value. So everything is given. So from this, if you substitute all all data, and if you find v, then you will get 2.4 meter per second. Of course, you will get root 6 meter per second. But answer is given 2.4 meter per second approximately. So this is the answer. 2.4 meter per second is the answer. Okay. Next. You see the next problem. You see the fourth problem. I don't want to say continuously, but some important problems are there. Here, fourth problem is also important one. You see, on the horizontal surface, there is a vertical axis. About the vertical axis, one sphere is made to rotate freely about the vertical axis. Here, a string is wound around this sphere, and the other end of this string is connected. Other end of the string is passed over the frictionless pulley. I think it is okay. This pulley is having moment of inertia I and radius smaller. The string is passed over this pulley, and at the other end, a block of mass small m is connected. Here, mass of the sphere is capital M and radius is capital R. That is given. Okay, now you see, all of you see the problem. A uniform spherical shell, it is the shell, spherical shell it is. So, a uniform spherical shell of mass m, radius capital R rotates about a vertical axis on frictionless bearing. See figure. An ideal chord means it is negligible mass, passes around the equator of the shell. Equator means this diametrical plane. The string is passed over the diametrical plane or equator of the spherical shell. Okay. Over a pulley of rotational inertia capital I and radius capital R here. Okay, and is attached to the small object of mass m, that is otherwise free to fall under gravity. And this string connect is free to fall under gravity. That means it does not stick to any surface. Okay, now there is no friction in the axis of the pulley. In the axis of the pulley here, there is no friction. It can rotate freely. Okay, the cord does not slip. Here over the pulley, the cord does not slip here and here. What is the speed of the object after it has fallen a distance h from the rest? From rest, whenever it falls through a distance small h, what is the speed? Same type problem, just approach is different. Concept is same. Whenever it falls through a distance, it loses potential energy. Loss of potential energy is equal to gain in energy by this sphere, this pulley, and this block. That's all. So, loss of potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. Gain in kinetic energy. Loss of potential energy means as this block comes down to a distance small h, loss of potential energy is equal to mg small h is equal to gain in kinetic energy means this block whenever falls to a distance h, it gains the kinetic energy half mv square plus at the same time here at this point of contact, if v is the velocity, as it comes down with a velocity v at this instant, this is also velocity v along tangential direction. That is v is equal to small r into omega. We can write now. V is equal to small r into omega. Okay. With what speed this point of contact, with what speed the string move in this direction, with the same speed the string move in this direction with the same speed v only. But radius is a capital R. That's why v is equal to capital R into omega here. Okay. Therefore, you see, half mv square into rotational kinetic energy gained by this one is equal to half I omega square. Half into moment of inertia of the spherical shell about this axis is equal to I means 2 by 3 m into r square into omega square. Omega square. Okay. It is omega of the spherical shell. Omega of the spherical shell plus half into moment of inertia of this one is given as I only into omega square, omega of the disk square. Okay, therefore mgh is equal to half mv square plus here 2 cancel, so 1 by 3 m into r square into angular velocity of this shell, spherical shell is equal to v by capital R. So v by capital R whole square plus half into moment of inertia is given I only, I into omega means v by smaller, so v square by smaller square. In all terms, you take v square common, and if you simplify them for v, then you will get root of small mgh whole by m by 2 plus I by 2 small r square plus capital M by 3 you will get, because here r square cancel, no? So this is the final answer you will get simply. This is the speed of this block whenever it falls through a distance h. Previous and this one almost all same approaches, okay, but here extra this speed is also kept. Okay, next problem is very, very important. You see, so here whenever the block is released, it comes down to a distance h. At the time, what is the speed of the block? They asked. Loss of potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy by this body, by this disk, by this sphere. So loss of potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy of this block is half m square plus gain in rotational kinetic energy of the body by the shell, half into moment of inertia 2 by 3 mr square, because it is a spherical shell, into angular velocity of the solid sphere, a spherical shell square, plus moment rotational kinetic energy gained by this disk, half into moment of inertia of the disk is given as capital I only, capital I into omega square of the omega of the disk square. Okay, therefore mgh plus half m square plus 1 by 3 into of course 2 to cancel, 1 by 3 mr square into w omega ss means this is omega ss, angular velocity of the spherical shell. It is angular velocity of the disk. Okay, v by capital R whole square is there, whole square, plus half into I into omega disk means v by small r whole square. When you simplify them, when you find for v, then we will get this one. Okay, next you see the other problem. Okay, you see the fifth problem. Actually, these up to 5 only difficult problems are there. Remaining problems are easy only. I don't want to say all problems, some important problems we will discuss. Okay, fifth one. All of you read the fifth problem. All of you read the fifth problem. Okay. So here, a uniform cylinder of radius smaller, a uniform cylinder of radius smaller is rotating about its axis with angular velocity omega naught initially. It is now placed into a corner as shown in the figure. The coefficient of friction between the wall cylinder as well as ground and cylinder, that is mu only. That is mu only. If the number of turns is n, the cylinder completes before it stops. Here initial angular velocity of the cylinder is omega naught. Final angular velocity is equal to 0 after it completes number of rotations small n, that is equal to question mark they asked. That is question mark. Okay, now all of you see the board. All of you see the board. Here whenever the rotating, this is the rotating cylinder, it is cylinder. So whenever the rotating cylinder with angular velocity omega naught about the center C is kept at the corner of the wall and floor, both are rough, having coefficient of friction same between horizontal ground and cylinder. Coefficient of friction is mu, here also mu. Whenever the rotating cylinder is kept in contact with the vertical wall and this horizontal surface, at the time at the point of contact friction acts, at this point of contact friction acts. What is the direction of friction? You see, as the disk is rotating like this point of contact try to move in this direction. That's why friction at this point acts in this direction. No, At the same time, as this cylinder rotates like this, the point of contact try to slip at this point in this direction. That's why friction acts in opposite direction. So in this direction, friction F1 is here. So F2 is here, say. Okay. Here at this point, as the friction is F2, normal action here is N2, say. Here, as it is rotating like this and made in contact with the wall, then this wall exerts some normal action N1 in this direction. Now, you see, along horizontal direction, it is under equilibrium. At this place only, it is rotating like this at this corner. That's why along horizontal or along x-axis, along horizontal, net force is 0, no? Along horizontal, what are the forces acts on the body? N1 acts in this direction, F2 acts in this direction. No other forces are there. That's why N1 is equal to F2. But F2 is equal to mu into, here what is the normal, mu into normal action N2. Here normal action is considered as M2, no? So N1 is equal to mu into N2. This is equation 1. Along vertical direction, along vertical, what are the forces acts along vertical direction? Tell me. Along vertical, you see, along vertical, N2 acts vertical upwards and F1 acts vertical upwards, and weight mg acts vertically downwards direction, no? That's why along vertical, F1 plus N1 is equal to weight mg. F1 means mu into normal reaction N1. F1 ante mu into normal action N1 plus N1 is equal to mg. Therefore, from this, what about N1 value? What about N1 value? No, is it correct? It is N2, no? F1 plus N2 we had tried. Yeah, N2, not N1. N2 here. Okay, therefore, mu into N1 is equal to mu N2 we can write, no? That's why mu into N1 is equal to mu into N2. So mu into N2 plus N2 is equal to weight mg. Therefore, from this N2 you take common, mu square plus 1 is equal to m into z, or N2 is equal to mg by mu square plus 1. They may ask this question also. This is say equation 2. If N2 is this one, what about N1? From equation 1, from 1, N1 is equal to mu into N2. N1 is equal to mu into N2. Therefore, N1 is equal to mu into this one. That means mu mg by mu square plus 1. This is equation 3. So now we have the normal reactions. Therefore, we had to find number of rotations, means before coming to rest, initial angular velocity this one. Before coming to rest, what is the number of rotations made? We had to find. For that, we had to find the angular acceleration. No? In order to find the angular accelerations, we need the torque. So about C, it's only the angular velocity rest 0 అయిపోతుంది అంటే డెఫినెట్ గా రిటార్డింగ్ టార్క్ పనిచేస్తున్నట్లేగా. ఇది ఇటువైపు రొటేట్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు ఫ్రిక్షన్ ఇటువైపు మూవ్ అవడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది, ఇక్కడ ఫ్రిక్షన్ కూడా ఇటువైపు టర్న్ అవడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది. దట్ మీన్స్ టార్క్ డ్యూ టు దిస్ టూ ఫ్రిక్షన్స్ యాక్ట్స్ ఇన్ క్లాక్ వైజ్ డైరెక్షన్, whereas rotation is anti-clockwise direction. That's why the torque due to friction is the retarding torque. Therefore, retarding torque means torque due to this friction minus F1 into radius of the cylinder is smaller, minus F2 into smaller. It is the net torque. Net torque is equal to I alpha. Net torque tau is equal to I alpha. Okay, from this minus F1 means mu into N1 into smaller minus mu into N2 into smaller is equal to I into alpha. From this we have to find alpha. So alpha is equal to minus here mu r we can take common N1 plus N2 by moment of inertia I. Moment of inertia I. Here it is the cylinder, means moment of inertia we can write m r square by 2, no? That's why here we can write minus mu small r into N1 can be written as mu into N2. So this can be written as mu into N2 plus N2 by moment of inertia means mr square by 2. So therefore alpha is equal to minus mu into smaller. Here smaller cancel. So 2 goes to numerator. So minus 2 mu minus 2 mu into 2 mu into here mu n2 we can take common, n2 you take common into mu plus 1, n2 into mu plus 1 by m into r, by m into small r. So this is equal to minus 2 mu into mu plus 1 by mr into n2, but n2 is equal to, we got this one, no? n2 is equal to mz by mu square plus 1 since from 2. So here mm cancel. Okay, therefore alpha is equal to minus 2 mu into mu plus 1 by small into z by r into mu square plus 1. This is equation 4. So this is the angular acceleration. So angular acceleration is equal to minus 2 mu into mu plus 1 into g by mu plus 1 into small r. Okay, therefore angular acceleration we have initial angular velocity omega naught, initial angular velocity omega naught, final angular velocity 0, angular acceleration this one, and angular displacement theta, that is equal to 2 pi into number of rotations before coming to rest. What is the relation among them? Omega square minus omega naught square is equal to 2 alpha into theta. Omega square means 0, omega naught square means omega naught only, is equal to 2 into alpha means this one, minus 2 mu of mu plus 1 into z by small r into mu square plus 1 into theta means 2 pi into small n. From this you calculate n value. If you simplify them, n value you will get mu square plus 1 into omega naught square small r whole by mu square plus 1, sorry, 8 mu into mu plus 1 into pi z, you will get pi z. Okay, so here answer is given as n is equal to mu square plus 1 into omega naught square r by some x into everything is given as it is, mu pi z of mu plus 1 is given. When you compare these two, we have x is equal to 8. So x is equal to 8 is the answer. They asked x is equal to 8. Okay, so this is one more problem that is important. Next you see, next sixth is not, no need. Okay, you see, sixth no need to explain, already it is in concepts only. So seventh problem also concept, but we have to understand the problem. Seventh oral problem only. Okay, all of you read that seventh problem. Seventh problem you see, a hollow cylinder, a spherical shell, a solid cylinder and a solid sphere. Hollow cylinder, okay, next spherical shell, solid cylinder and solid sphere. In this way, there are 4 bodies. They are allowed to roll down on a fixed inclined plane, rough surface of coefficient of friction mu and inclination theta. The correct option is first A. If all the objects are rolling without sliding and having same mass, the kinetic energy of all the objects will be same at the bottom of the inclined plane. You see, in all cases, as they are coming down without rolling without slipping, here from this top of the inclined plane of height h, as they comes down without slipping. Without slipping means there is no energy loss. There is no slipping means there is no work is done against the friction. That's why whatever the energy acquired by any body, that is equal to mg into h only. Whenever the body by rolling comes down to the bottom of the incline without slipping, the total here, whenever the body is here, it is having potential energy. When it reaches the bottom, the total potential energy is lost and it acquires the rolling energy. So as the masses are equal and height is same, from the same height only all bodies are released. That's why rolling energies are same for all. That's why there is no loss of energy. All bodies are having same rotational kinetic energy. So all are having same rotational kinetic energy. So A is correct. All have same rolling energy. Rolling energy as mass is same. Rolling energy as M is same for all. M is same. Next, B we have to check. Work done by frictional force will be 0 as rolling without slipping takes place. As rolling without slipping takes place, then there is no role of friction. That's why work done by friction is 0 only, no? So this B is also correct. Next, if the cylindrical shell can roll without slipping on inclined plane, all other objects will also roll without slipping. Actually, to roll without slipping, the minimum coefficient of friction already on rough inclined plane, when for the body to roll without slipping, the coefficient of friction must the coefficient of friction must be greater than or equal to tan theta by 1 plus mr square by capital I, no? mr square by capital I. mr square by capital I. So mu minimum greater than or equal to tan theta by 1 plus mr square by mk square. Then it becomes r square by k square, no? Since I is equal to mk square. Okay, this is the general formula. Here, if cylindrical shell can roll without slipping, for cylindrical shell, mu minimum greater than or equal to tan theta by, for cylindrical shell, moment of inertia about the natural axis is equal to mr square, that is equal to mk square. That means k square by r square is equal to 1 only, no? 1 by 1 plus 1. Therefore, mu minimum greater than or equal to tan theta by 2. Suppose if you take the hollow cylinder, hollow sphere, etc., for them, definitely in here this value for other bodies, r square by k square value is different. Okay, for all other bodies, it is as the cylindrical shell rolls without slipping, then the coefficient of friction is this value. Minimum value is equal to, that implies minimum, mu minimum is equal to tan theta by 2. For other bodies, suppose if you take the solid cylinder, for solid cylinder this is equal to 3 by 2, because for solid cylinder it is equal to 2. That means this becomes 1 plus 2, 3. Because in case of solid cylinder, mr square by 2 is equal to mk square, or r square by k square is equal to 2 only, no? If you substitute 2 here, tan theta by 3, so mu value further less. And solid sphere, similarly for solid sphere, hollow spheres, or solid cylinder, this coefficient of friction between them is required coefficient of friction between these two for rolling without slipping is less than this one only. But cylindrical shell rolls without slipping means the coefficient of friction is greater than the required value for remaining one. That's why definitely remaining all comes down rolling without slipping. That's why. So all remaining rolls without slipping. This is very, very important point. Next, frictional force will be equal for all the rolling objects. Next, whatever, it is also correct. So next D, frictional force F, the minimum frictional force is equal to mg sin theta by, general formula is mg sin theta by 1 plus r square by k square. Here, frictional force will be equal for all rolling bodies. For all rolling bodies, even the mass is same, theta is same, r square by k square value is different for different bodies, no? That's why F is different. But here friction is same, it is given. So it's not correct. So only these three are correct. Only the three are correct. Okay, it is the 7th problem. Next, you see. Eighth problem. All of you read eighth problem. Eighth problem. In the figure shown, a ball rolls without sliding on a horizontal surface. It ascends a curved track up to a height h and returns. Value of h is h1 for sufficiently rough curved track to avoid sliding and h2 for smooth curved track. You see, for smooth curved track, here suppose if it is smooth curved track, this body cannot roll without, this body cannot roll. If the figure shows a ball rolls without sliding on a horizontal surface, if it is smooth, it slides down like this only. That's why whatever the kinetic energy here, translational kinetic energy, that is equal to potential energy gained here, mgh. It rises up to a height equal to h2 given. Suppose whenever it is rolling without slipping, in that case, to reach the same height, here value of h1 for sufficient rough curved track to avoid sliding. It ascends a curved track up to a height of h and returns. Okay, whenever it is rolling without slipping on the rough track, the body is having translational kinetic energy and rotational kinetic energy also. Okay, so with this, by rolling without slipping, it can reach a height equal to h1 given. So what is the relation between h1 and h2? What is the relation between h1 and h2? Here kt is equal to mg h2, we can write plus kr, rolling and rotational kinetic energy, that is equal to h1. From this mg h1, no, sorry, this is equal to mg into h1. So from this it is clear that h1 greater than h2, no, because when you add kr to this one, we got this one. That's why h1 greater than h2. That is the 8th problem. Okay, next 9th problem. After 9th, 10th, 11th problems are not there. Then we have to discuss 12th problem. Okay, so 9th problem first. 9th problem is important one and easy also. All of you, you see here, have you seen this problem? On the smooth horizontal surface, when the body is projected, okay, then it travels without rotating and reaches the height h2. That's why translational kinetic energy becomes potential energy. So kt is equal to mgh2. When if it is the rough surface, it rolls without slipping and reaches the height h1. That's why while rolling without slipping, it travels. Initially, it is having translational kinetic energy plus rotational kinetic energy. That is equal to, it reaches a height h1. That's why potential energy is equal to mgh1, according to law of conservation of energy. Then kt is equal to mgh2, I substituted here. From this, definitely h1 greater than h2, no, that is the option. Okay, option C correct. C option is correct. Okay, next 9th problem. All of you see the 9th problem. All of you read the 9th problem. A uniform disk. There is a uniform disk of mass 2 kg and radius r is equal to 1 meter is mounted on the axis supported on fixed frictionless bearings. A light cord is wrapped around the rim of the disc, and mass 1 kg is tied to the free end. A mass 1 kg is tied to the string. It is released from rest. Whenever it is released, the weight, okay, whenever it is released, then we have to check one by one. So all of you see the problem here. Here, there is a uniform disc of mass 2 kg, radius 1 meter. It is made to rotate freely about horizontal axis. String is wounded around this disc, and at the other end of the string, a block of mass 1 kg is fixed. Whenever it is released, the weight small mg acts vertically downwards direction. At the same time, tension acts in upward direction. The same tension pulls the string in this direction, so that due to tension, some torque acts on this pulley about this point O. Here, this radius is equal to capital R. Okay, now for this block, mg minus t is equal to net force acts on the block. On the block, mg acts downwards, tension upwards. Even then, as the block comes down with acceleration a, definitely mg minus t is equal to m into a. This is equation 1. M means 1 kg into g 10. minus t is equal to 1 into a. That's why 10 minus t is equal to a. This is equation 1. Okay, next for this, due to tension torque acts. So for pulley, torque acts on the pulley due to tension is equal to torque is tau is equal to T into Kepler. Force equal to tension into Kepler. So T Kepler, that is equal to I into alpha. So TR is equal to, here it is the uniform disk. That's why moment of inertia is Kepler r square by 2 about this axis into angular acceleration. As it is coming down without slipping, definitely this point is having tangential acceleration equal to this A only, which is equal to R into alpha. From that, alpha can be written as A by R, no? A by Kepler. Okay. Therefore, here this R square, this R square cancel. So T is equal to MA by 2. So therefore, from this A is equal to 2T by M now. Now we substitute this value. A is equal to 2T by M in equation 1. So from 1, 10 minus T is equal to A means 2T by M. That is equal to 2T by M means 2Ks. 2 cancel. Therefore, T is equal to 5 Newton. No? Tension of string is equal to 5 Newton. So that option A is correct. So this is for option A. That is correct. Next, in the first 4 seconds, the angular displacement of the disk is 40 radian. So in B, angular displacement they asked. To find angular displacement, we need alpha. Alpha is equal to question mark. So to find the alpha value from this equation, anyone from 1, to find alpha value, A is equal to R alpha, no? To find alpha, we need A. So from the equation 1, 10 minus T is equal to A, or T is equal to 10 minus A. That is equal to, that implies T means 5 is equal to 10 minus A, or A is equal to 5 meter per second square, no? Therefore, from this formula, therefore, A is equal to R alpha, implies A means 5, R means 1 into alpha. So alpha is equal to 5 radian per second square. Angular acceleration we got. Okay, now angular displacement theta is equal to initial angular velocity into time plus half alpha t square we can write now. Theta we had to find. Initial angular velocity is 0. Whenever the block is released, at that time this disk is not rotating. That's why angular velocity is 0. Plus half into alpha means 5 into after what time they asked the this angular displacement after 4 seconds. So t is equal to 4 seconds. So 4 square. Therefore, theta is equal to 40 radians. 40 radians is the angular displacement. Okay, so B is also correct. Here, B is also correct. So this B is also correct. Next C, we have to check. The work done by the torque on the disk in the first 4 seconds. In first 4 seconds, what is the work done by torque tau? Work done by the torque tau is equal to question mark. Work done by torque tau in 4 seconds. Here, as the angular acceleration is constant, torque is also constant as moment of inertia constant. That's why work done by torque on the body is equal to tau into angular displacement. Tau means T into R. Torque tau is equal to tension into radius only, no? T into R is the torque, no? Torque acts on this one into theta. You substitute the data. T means we have 5 Newton. T is equal to 5 Newton into radius is 1 meter into angular displacement is 40. That's why 200 joules. So work done by torque is equal to 200 joules. So this is also correct. Next D. The increase in kinetic energy of the disk in the first 4 seconds is, increase in kinetic energy of the disk means whatever the work done by torque on the disk, because of that only it rotates. So according to work energy theorem in rotative motion, work done by torque is equal to increase in rotational kinetic energy, that is equal to final rotational kinetic energy minus initial rotational kinetic energy. Okay, they asked this only, that is equal to 200 joule. That's all. This is also correct. So A, B, C, D all are correct for 9th problem. Okay, next 12th problem. All of you see 12th problem. So last 3-4 problems only. All of you see the 12th problem. A cubical block, 12th problem. A cubical block of side L. A cubical block of side L and mass M is placed on the rough horizontal surface. Mu is equal to 0.6, of course. Rough horizontal surface. The block is under equilibrium. A horizontal force mg/4 is applied at the surface, at the top surface. F is equal to mg/4 is applied. At the center of the, a horizontal force is applied at the center of the top surface. Okay, at the center of the top surface as shown. The coefficient of friction is given. The acceleration due to gravity is g. Which of the following is correct? Okay, we have to check one by one. All of you see. Here you see next page. Okay, first option. The magnitude of torque experienced by the cube due to frictional force about the center of the cube is mg L/8. Magnitude of torque experienced by the cube due to normal reaction is given. Magnitude of torque experienced by the cube due to normal reaction about the center of the cube. Magnitude of torque experienced by the cube due to contact force. Okay, different cases is given. We have to find one by one. Okay, you see, because it develops the subject a lot. That's why I'm telling this one. Here, about the center of the cube is say O. This is the center of the cube. About the center of the cube, the magnitude of torque experienced by the cube due to frictional force about the center of the cube, they asked. Okay, you see, whenever the force is applied in this direction, the cube try to move in this direction. So friction acts in opposite direction, but it is under static equilibrium. That's why here in the problem it is given that the cube is under static equilibrium. Under static equilibrium, net force is 0 in this along horizontal direction. That's why F is equal to capital F. That is equal to mg/4. Now, about first option A, the magnitude of torque experienced by the cube due to frictional force. Torque due to frictional force is equal to about O. They asked about O. Torque due to friction is equal to frictional force F into perpendicular distance of the frictional force from this point O, means that is equal to L/2 only, no? L/2. That is equal to F means mg/4 into L/2. Therefore, torque due to frictional force is equal to mg L/8. So this option A is correct. Next, option B. The magnitude of torque experienced by the cube due to normal reaction about the center of the cube is dash. So here, whenever the applied force is there here, whenever the applied force is there, due to that, the this cube try to just turn or topple like this. Whenever try to topple like this, when no force is applied, normal reaction passing through center only like this. But whenever the applied force is there, due to that, normal reaction will be shifted somewhat away from the center of gravity, and the normal reaction acts in this direction. Due to normal reaction, what is the torque acts? That is the question they are asked. So due to normal reaction, in order to find the torque first, here you see, here weight mg acts vertically downwards direction, normal action acts upward direction. Here they asked the torque due to normal reaction, isn't it? We have to find torque due to normal reaction. We have to find, that is very, very important. In order to find the torque due to normal reaction, first, up to what distance the normal reaction shifts from the center, x, we have to find. Okay. First of all, here in upward direction, normal reaction acts, and in vertically downwards direction, only weight acts. That's why normal reaction is equal to weight only, no? Normal reaction is equal to weight only. Apply, okay. Normal reaction is equal to weight itself. Okay, now torque due to normal reaction is equal to, here as it is under static equilibrium, torque due to normal reaction try to shift the block in anti-clockwise direction. Torque due to force in this direction, torque due to friction also rotates in clockwise direction. Of course, about the center, there is no torque due to this one. No torque due to weight. Okay, that's why torque due to normal reaction balances the torque due to applied force plus torque due to friction plus torque due to weight. Of course, torque due to weight is 0. Torque due to applied force means about the center. About O, they asked. About the center, torque due to applied force is equal to weight, force F into L by 2, no? F into L by 2 plus torque due to friction means small f into L by 2, because this distance is also L by 2. So F into L by 2. As small f, capital F both are same, we can write instead of small f also we can write capital M, then F into L you will get, since small f is equal to capital F. Therefore, torque due to normal action is equal to F means mg by 4 into L. So mg L by 4, that is the torque due to normal reaction. Okay, next, torque due to contact force they asked. If B is correct, C is not correct. Next, D, torque due to contact force. Torque due to contact force is equal to tau C, that is equal to question mark. Torque due to contact force means friction is the contact force, normal reaction is also contact force. Friction is the contact force, normal reaction is also contact force. That's why torque due to contact force is equal to torque due to friction plus torque due to normal reaction. Because of normal reaction and due to friction, are the torques are in the same direction or not, you have to check. Torque due to friction rotates in clockwise direction. Torque due to normal action rotates the body in anti-clockwise direction. That's why they are in opposite direction. Okay, that's why as torque due to normal action is greater than torque due to friction, you take this torque due to friction as negative. So clockwise torque you take negative, anti-clockwise torque positive. That's why torque due to friction means we got mg L by 8 plus torque due to normal action means mg L by 4. So torque due to contact force is equal to, simplification gives mg L by 8. So torque due to contact force is equal to mg L by 8. So this is also correct. So this problem is very, very important. Okay, next, 13th problem. After 13th, we are having only 17, 18. Okay, next you see the 13th problem. All of you see 13th problem. This is also conceptual only. Okay, all of you see 13th problem. The frictional force developed between the uniform disk A and fixed inclined plane is shown in figure. Friction acts in this direction. When friction acts in this direction, that is the case. Frictional force developed between the uniform disk A and fixed inclined plane is shown in figure. Disk is purely rolling on the incline. Then, okay, we have to check one by one. You see, we have to check one by one. The body could be rolling up. Even the body will be rolling upwards. You see here, whenever the body is rolling like this, if the body rolling like this, first A, if the body rolling like this in this direction, the point of contact try to move, slip in this direction. So friction acts in this direction. That's why whenever the body rolling up, in that case, the frictional force is in upward direction. That is correct. While it is rolling like this, frictional force is upwards. That is correct. Next, B, A is correct. The body could be rolling down. While rolling down, here while rolling down like this, if it is rolling down like this, then angular velocity is in this direction. You see, body rolling down means it is coming down like this. But at the same time, friction may be, the rotation motion may be in this direction. No? So at this point of contact, friction may be in opposite direction. There is also possibility. While rolling like this in clockwise direction, if the body roll coming down, in such case, friction is in opposite direction. That is also correct. Next, C. The body should be at instantaneous rest. The body should be instantaneous rest means definitely because of weight component some torque acts. That's why there is no possibility for instantaneous rest. So that is not correct. It could either be moving up or moving down or instantaneous. Should be is not correct. Maybe is in instantaneous rest. Should be is not correct, but maybe instantaneous rest. So that C is not correct. D, rolling upwards, rolling downwards, maybe instantaneous rest. Maybe at instantaneous rest. Okay. So these are the possibilities. Next, last two problems. 17 and 18. Last problems, easy problems only. 17 and 18. You see. Okay, all of you see that 17th problem. Read that problem first. Comprehensive, these are important. If you get one problem, you will get other problem easily in comprehensive also. In multiple choice questions also like that only. If you do one option, then the remaining options becomes easy. So 17th problem. Here a uniform rod of mass m and length 2a. Uniform rod of mass m length 2a can turn freely about one end, which is fixed. It is started with angular velocity omega from the position in which it hangs vertically. So one rod is hanging vertically from one end, whose length is L. It is given initially angular velocity omega. Then the angular velocity at the instant when it makes an angle theta with downward vertical is its angular. Okay, whenever the rod comes, whenever this rod is given angular velocity omega, then it turns like this, and whenever it makes an angle theta with vertical, whenever the rod makes an angle theta with vertical, what is the angular velocity? So it is the initial angular velocity omega given, final angular velocity they asked when it makes an angle theta with vertical. So here also you see, initially whenever the rod is vertical, the central mass lies here. Whenever the rod is inclined, central mass lies here. So initially central mass lies in this plane. Now the central mass lies in this plane. Central mass raises up to certain height now. That's why rod gains the potential energy. Rod gains the potential energy. Initially at this point, it is having angular velocity omega. That's why initially, if you take this as the reference line, at this point the rod has no energy, potential energy, but has rotational kinetic energy. But whenever it reaches this position, it gains the potential energy, plus at the same time as the angular velocity becomes omega f, it is having rotational kinetic energy. So you apply the conservation of energy principle. You apply the conservation of energy principle. According to conservation of energy principle, if you take this as the reference line, according to law of conservation of energy principle, whenever the central mass is here, at that time angular velocity of the rod is omega. That's why it is having rotational kinetic energy half I omega square, plus potential energy 0 is equal to, whenever the rod comes to this position, as the central mass raises to a height h, it gains the potential energy mgh, plus as the angular velocity becomes omega f, it has rotational kinetic energy half I omega f square. Half I omega f square. So we have to find this omega f. So half into I means you substitute the data. It is the rod about this end, moment of inertia means ml square by 3 only, no, into angular velocity square is equal to mg into what about h value? H means you see this is L by 2, this is L by 2. The component of this one in this direction is L by 2 cos theta. This length is L by 2 cos theta. Okay, then what is H means? L by 2 minus L by 2 cos theta. So L by 2 of 1 minus cos theta is plus half into I means ml square by 3 into angular velocity square, final angular velocity square. Here theta is given as, in terms of theta only answer is given. Okay, so now you see here ml square omega square by 6, ml square omega square by 6 minus mg L by 2 into 1 minus cos theta is equal to ml square by 2 into 3, 6 into omega f square. Okay, here m can be cancelled. Of course, m into L means, okay, we can cancel L, this square, and this square can be cancelled. Okay, 2 3s are 2 3s are. Okay, now m cancel. So remaining you write L means 2a into omega square by 3 minus, here m cancel now, g into 1 minus cos theta is equal to L means 2a by 3 into omega f square. We need omega f. That's why you divide with 2a by 3. Therefore omega f square is equal to, when you divide with 2a by 3, then it will be cancelled. So omega square minus z by 2a by 3 means into 3 of 1 minus cos theta. Therefore final angular velocity omega f is equal to square root of omega square minus 3z by 2a of 1 minus cos theta. This is the final angular velocity of the rod whenever it makes an angle theta with vertical. Next, here they asked 18th one, last problem. Last problem, you see. Here, whenever the rod starts rotating with angular velocity omega, when it makes an angle theta with vertical, at that time, what is the angular velocity they asked? Here, when the rod turns, move from this position to this position, center mass raises up to certain height, no? Okay, that's why at this position, total energy of the rod, at this position, total energy of the rod same. But whenever the rod move from this position to this position, the weight acts in downwards direction. That's why against the gravity, it move. That's why work is done by the gravity, which is the conservative. Whenever the work is done by the conservative force, the total energy of the body does not change. One form of energy will be converted into another form. Even then, there is no friction here at the hinge also. That's why whenever the rod is vertical, as it is having angular velocity omega, it is having rotational kinetic energy half I omega square. And you take this as the reference line. So potential energy is 0. That is equal to, whenever rod comes to this position, as the center mass rises up to a height h, it gains the potential energy plus the rotational kinetic energy becomes half I into final angular velocity at this position square. Okay. Here L is equal to 2a given. You substitute 2a and you simplify them. Then I got final angular velocity at this point is equal to this one. Last problem, 18th one. Last problem, 18th. Whenever, what is the minimum angular velocity is to be given to the rod, so that minimum angular velocity is to be given to the rod so that it turns vertical. Initially, the rod is along vertically downwards direction like this. Okay, here what angular velocity is to be given so that it turns, just turns vertical. Turns vertical means the rod must coming to the vertical position like this, so that initial center mass is here. Now, whenever it turns like this, the center mass comes to this position. So, up to what distance center mass rises means this is the height up to which center mass rises. This is equal to L by 2. This is equal to L by 2 means that is equal to L. So, now we apply the conservation of energy principle. According to law of conservation of energy principle, total energy at first position and second position both are equal. E1 is equal to E2. So whenever the rod is at this position, if you take this lowest position of the center mass as the reference line, whenever the center mass is here, the potential energy is 0. But as the rod is having starts rotation with angular velocity omega naught, it is having rotational kinetic energy half m omega naught square plus potential energy 0. Whenever the rod turns like this, at this position, just rod has to rotate, move to upwards. Rod has to turn vertically upwards. Just it has to turn vertically upwards means final angular velocity at this point is 0. That's why final angular velocity is 0 plus potential energy gained is equal to mg into h. ఎందుకంటే center mass ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇక్కడ దాకా వస్తుంది కాబట్టి it gains the potential energy. So from this half into I means ml square by 3 into initial angular velocity square is equal to mg into h means that is equal to L. So L square cancel, M cancel. So from this omega naught square we need, that is equal to 6z by L. 6z by L means 2a, that is equal to 3z by a, no? Therefore angular velocity, minimum angular velocity is equal to root to 3z by a. So when you give this much angular velocity minimum when the rod is along vertical and in lower direction, if you push this body, this rod with angular velocity omega naught, then only turns vertical. Otherwise, if the angular velocity is less than this one, rod after reaching this much position, it comes down like this. But whenever you push the rod with this angular velocity, then it turns vertical and comes to rest. Of course, because of gravity, it may falls like this again. So this is the minimum angular velocity to be given when the rod is in lower position along in vertical direction, so that it turns to vertical upwards. Okay, these are the problems. So based on this, I think you have developed some different thoughts. So based on that thoughts, we must be in a position to do the problems. Okay. So remember these concepts when in advanced paper, if they ask this type of, if they ask the problems based on these thoughts, you must be in a position to do these problems. Okay. Have a nice day. I'm signing out. Okay. Good night. Have a nice day. Right now.